Hello, ladies and gentlemen! The Mighty Mouse Plays back out again with another one for you guys. Glaives hardly made a splash when they were first introduced in Witch Queen, and for a good reason. They're a tricky and, frankly, a pretty finicky weapon type. But Glaives are also one of the strongest weapon types in the game, and people are just finally starting to pick up on this. Glaives tend to have this snowball effect where, after you land the first hit, you can fairly easily turn that into a string of kills. But all of this is based around the shield mechanic that Glaives introduced, and building that shield through landing hits with the Glaives projectiles. So, like a Glaive, let's get to the point. Are Glaives worth investing any of your time? I really think so. Even if mastering a Glaive is more than you want to take on, this is still a really fun and an especially satisfying weapon type to use in the Crucible. So let's start with the basics of a Glaive and how it functions, so there's no hearsay in how it works. So when you shoot a Glaive, you shoot at a projectile that's going to deal 131 damage on a hit. But let's be a little more specific. You're shooting a projectile that has travel speed. So unlike your typical hit scan weapon, this means you have to get a feel for the projectile speed and lead shots if necessary. So if you find your projectile feels slow or misses frequently, you can increase the projectile speed through two means. You can either increase the range of your Glaive, or through the perk Impulse Amplifier. This is part of the learning curve that a Glaive has, mastering that projectile speed so you can reliably secure the shield energy. Outside of the projectile, you're also able to perform a quick 3-hit melee combo, each of which will deal 75 damage. Now, this is the same kill speed as a regular Guardian doing 2 melees, so you can't just abuse it against people who, can melee you back. But where this will give you an advantage is in a pretty ridiculous scenario actually, when you're in a bubble fight or a well fight because you're able to consecutively hit these melees off quickly. And while that is a little niche, it's also hilariously fun to pull off in game. So the last thing your Glaive does is it blocks incoming damage. It's able to block 75% of inbound weapon damage from all sources. So while this certainly isn't going to be blocking any supers, you can occasionally block a light attack from a super and attempt to make a play. The main use is to block inbound damage though, to allow you to freely shoot your projectile. And while you may be blocking damage, you should probably note that you're not invincible. It is easy to eat a lot of damage and feel like nothing can kill you, but that's not the case. There are a lot of scenarios where you take damage before the shield pops up, and you begin shielding with low health where you're at a risk of dying, even with the shield reducing damage for you. But for the moments where you engage a fight already having all your shields, you do have some room for shenanigans, where you can tank some pretty absurd damage. So the concepts are straightforward, so what Glaive should you be using? Let's take a look at some of the Glaives available and see which perk combinations are going to work best for you. The good news is, every Glaive is craftable, even the exotics, meaning you can fine-tune their range stat if you feel like you need to increase the projectile speed on your Glaive. So with that being said, let's take a look at what each perk drops on a Glaive, and deduce what may be best for you. Let's start off with the Enigma. This is the Glaive that is craftable from the Witch Queen story mission, meaning most, if not all of you, should already have this Glaive. So when we look at the perk combinations, firstly, I like making sure I have a 6-round magazine, which will allow me to get up to 3 kills without reloading, which is important because if you get caught on the last shot and run out of ammo, you just kind of end up getting caught in this weird scenario where you're shielding but don't really have a way out. You can achieve this through either a backup mag or using a magazine perk. I recommend using a magazine perk for the Enigma, as you can pair the Glaive with a sprint grip to quickly ADS and shoot, getting your shield up. The next thing I'd recommend here is Impulse Amplifier. This will improve your projectile speed and your reload, so this is going to help greatly increase the consistency with landing your Glaive shots. In that same column, the only other perk I see any value in is Subsistence, as this is going to allow you to lock in larger multi-kills, as every 2 kills will fill up enough ammo to get you another kill with the Glaive. In the fourth column, I recommend the Unstoppable Force perk, which would amp up your Glaive damage to 170 after blocking damage with your shield. This happens frequently, as shooting a tagged up or weakened enemy will often result in a one-shot kill, as 170 is a serious chunk of damage to hit someone with. In this column, I think Thresh and Unrelenting would be my backup choices, as healing with your Glaive shield would only give you incredible survivability, and faster supers are always welcome as well. Damage perks like Kill Clip or Frenzy are nice, but don't result in a one-shot kill for this weapon, and the damage boost from Unstoppable Force is just far easier to activate, giving it far more value in my opinion. Next, let's look at the Nezarac's Whisper. This is the new seasonal Glaive, which is craftable after completing 5 red border weapons, which is honestly kind of a pain. But this Glaive does have some perk combinations I do recommend. This Glaive does come with the same perk combination I recommended for the Enigma, with Impulse Amplifier and Unstoppable Force. But what unique rolls can this come up with? This can drop with Demolitionist and Adrenaline Junkie, giving you a grenade build that can proc Adrenaline Junkie ×5 right away on a grenade kill, which can't one-shot in PvP, but is an awesome loop for PvE where when you get a grenade kill and then use a powered up glaive to earn energy back faster. And at the end of the day, I do recommend this with Arc 3.0 around the corner, especially in PvE, because you can do so many funny builds with it. But looking at the Crucible, I do worry that with Arc 3.0, there's going to be a surge in people running Risk Runners to try and counter all these new Arc abilities and the Arc weapons that'll be present, allowing people to resist your Glaive shot, which will cause you to take an extra Glaive shot to have to kill your opponent as they shoot an overcharged Risk Runner at you. And if you take a look at the stats on this weapon, it does have lower range than the Enigma, so I think it's more efficient to be focusing this in PvE rather than trying to use this in PvP, because Risk Runner, even if it becomes popular, it's going to shut this down very quickly, and if you're going for high range to have better projectile speed, the Enigma just does it better. Lastly, let's look at Lubra's Rain. This glaive is acquired after 5 red border weapons are completed, and has the lowest range, hence lowest projectile velocity of all of them. But this does have a cool perk combination that makes it viable in the Crucible, capable of one-shotting opponents. You can roll Enhance Surrounded on this glaive, which offers a 40% damage buff when surrounded by 3 enemies, and this can be further doubled down by using a surrounded spec, boosting the damage even further. This damage buff allows you to hit one-shot kills with your glaive when radiant, allowing for some awesome big play potential. But outside of that surrounded PvP build, it has good potential in PvE builds, being a solar weapon, pairing well with radiant builds, allowing you to extend that timer with the right aspects and fragments. So if you do look to make a PvE build, I recommend using Grave Robber and Surrounded, giving you this super aggro playstyle where you always jump in and always have glaive ammo up by meleeing enemies and getting your ammo back by shooting them. This weapon also has the ability to drop adept mods, so there is room to play around with adept mods too if you go with this route, and you can stack Vorpal weapon with adept big ones to hit champions and bosses harder than a typical glaive would otherwise, while also using your shield to tank big damage that would otherwise kill you in hard PvE con. Let's take a quick snapshot of the exotics. There are 3 exotic glaives. All of these can be crafted, allowing you to customize them however you would prefer. But I feel like all 3 of them end up being PvE weapons, since getting full energy in PvP is a lot of effort, requiring you to land 4 shots without expending your shield in any scenario. So they're fun, and there is potential if you're crazy with the glaive, but I don't think they're going to be staples in the current meta. Given this information, I choose to run the Enigma as it has the best range and I believe the best perk combination for PvP. Now that we've picked up the glaive of choice, how can you start picking up a glaive yourself and doing well with it? The key is understanding the shield. You win and lose fights around how you work the shield. It's important to note 2 things. Your shield doesn't immediately pop up as you hit your first shot when ADS. It does take a split second to pop up, and secondly, you can't swap weapons while you have your glaive shield up. So it's easy to think that you can ADS your glaive when shooting your first shot, and then follow up quickly with a second shot from another weapon. But glaives can't do this well actually. The best combination that I found is to have a swap combo, like throwing a sticky grenade into an engagement before actually landing your shot, because you can do this so quickly. And like I said just a moment ago, when you aim down sights and shoot your glaive, the shield pops up after just a moment, but you need to be really careful because shotgunners are able to slide in and kill you before that shield pops up. So it's important to realize that glaives are great up close, but they are dominated by shotguns if you get too close and start entering that melee range. If you're able to go into a fight with glaive and shield energy, it's fairly straightforward to walk down an enemy, shielding their inbound damage. Just watch out for Witherhoard actually. It's pretty easy to get stuck with this if you're just slowly walking down enemies, and I found that whenever people are running Witherhoard, they had a pretty easy time killing me. But if you keep enemies just outside of shotgun range and leverage that shield against your enemies, it's pretty easy to snowball a first kill into a streak and having energy for your next fights. So when I look about weapon pairings, I'm pretty OCD about making sure I have my weapons covering all engagement ranges. Glaives are tricky to figure out what weapons to pair with them to make sure they don't often overlap engagement distances. I settled into the newly buffed scouts and ranged pulse rifles, as glaives often struggle at those ranges. Using this pairing allowed me to go from struggling to put together entire games against opponents to consistently putting up good games with the glaives and pulse pairing. I would highly recommend this to you as well. The easiest weapon to pair in my opinion would be the No Time to Explain because A, it's an exotic, which means it's easier to pick up, and because they make these more easily available than other weapons. So in terms of subclass, I think glaives would work fairly well, pretty evenly across all subclasses, but I do like a couple pairings from the following. Fusions and magnetic grenades are nice because you can lead engagements with them, allowing you to kill the glaive with one shot following up a grenade. I did also particularly enjoy playing on a Blink Warlock and Icarus dashing as Warlock, because this allows me to keep me in Glaive engagement range, stopping those shotgunners from rushing me and making me play their game. You should also be aware that you cannot use your traditional melee as a Glaive is out, because it replaces your class melee with the Glaive melee. Just keep this in mind if you have something that uses a ranged melee attack, because you'll often end up swiping in the air like you're at a rave. So just a couple extra notes here. When you're looking at the perks, there is a distinction to be made between meleeing an enemy versus shooting them, as projectiles won't count as a melee kill and won't proc perks like Swashbuckler, while the melee won't add stacks to perks like Rampage or Adrenaline Junkie, because it's not coded as a bullet when you stab something, but as a regular melee that's just quicker and does less damage. The final thing they need to be aware of is because of the fact that glaives are projectiles, they have funky hitbox issues at times, where you hit your enemy and don't damage them. You can tell this happens because you'll get your glaive shield energy, but you won't do any damage. Just be cautious that this can happen, so always be prepared to shoot another shot from your glaive to ensure your enemy's dead. So, all in all, glaives are stronger than most people realize, and they're not as inherently busted as other weapons, but where they're strong, they're absurdly strong in the right hands, and they have a place in any game mode if you play it correctly. But outside of that, I encourage everyone to give the time to give a glaive a try, and even if mastering them isn't for you, anyone can have fun with the glaive. If you liked what you saw, please go ahead and give this video a like and a sub for more, so I know what you guys enjoy. Feel free to leave any feedback in the comments below. I appreciate all of your time, and as always, stay smooth, Guardians.